Okay, so we're live and we're going to be speaking about the timber price increases. Feels like that's the only thing I've talked about for the past 10 days or so, and I'm just going to share with you some of the responses that I've had directly through the increased requests, and if you've got anything that isn't answered, then please pop it in the comments, and I've got Cameron here helping me to make sure that we are staying on top of what you want to say. So first of all, what on earth's happening? How have we got ourselves into this situation? Who said that sheds had to be made out of wood? Yes, it's been some trip. So we have been communicating with our suppliers. Obviously, we have 3 key suppliers: Direct Line Timber, Thornbridge and James Donaldson. So last Friday, the 7th, I had a meeting with our accountant, Alistair McGill, and we were talking about the impacts of what the proposed price increase was going to be, and obviously what impact it's already had. So I explained to him the findings that my key suppliers had given me. They've given me a great insight into what's going on in the timber industry. So there's a number of factors involved. Obviously, we've had a catalyst of events so far in the past sort of 18 months or so, Brexit being the first, COVID being the second, and then the US and China housing markets being the third, all of which have impacted the timber supply chain massively. Now, we are manufacturers of Scandinavian redwood, and that comes from Scandinavia and also Siberia and Russia. So we are sourcing timber that is from the coldest of climates for a specific reason, and that is because of the way it grows. Slow grown timber is far, far better than timber that's grown in fast growing climates like Scotland. So no, we can't just use Scottish wood instead. It's not part of our specification, and it's definitely something that we are not going to compromise on, and that is the material quality and specification that we build to. So we have to use this wood and we have to pay this price. So what we did is we increased the new sale price, obviously, straight away with immediate effect. And I spent days and nights working out the best plan for this. And by Thursday last week, we were able to release the new price lists for any new customers. But secondary to that has been obviously the impact on existing customers. So some of you have placed orders that aren't going to come to fruition until next year, and the timber prices will increase significantly between now and then, as well as the increase that we've already experienced. So we had to ask you a big favour, and that was to help out. I have done my best in terms of related costs per product and working out our percentage share of profit in terms of gross profit and net profit, and I've made a significant contribution from the business into this increase. However, I can't do it all, and as my accountant warned me, this increase has to be passed on, otherwise we will not survive it. And so that's where we asked you for help. We've asked you for help by way of contribution. And this is specifically to existing customers who have already confirmed their order and paid their deposit. So we asked for a 5% increase on the remaining balance of their invoices. And we've had an overwhelmingly positive response. Regardless of the Courier article today, I am massively grateful for everyone who has reached out and got in touch and shown their support for us and believing in us and trusting us to continue on and build their shed dreams. And so just huge thank you to everyone who has shown their support in so many different ways. It's just been really humbling, and I'm dead grateful, and as are everyone at G&M Mackay. We know that it's not an easy ask. No one loves unexpected cost. Not any human on this planet appreciates an unexpected cost, so we fully understand. And we take that approach on everything. You know, we put ourselves in your shoes. We know that this cannot be cool. But you've done it. You've come in your droves and you have contributed what you can. And that's just is a huge thing. So massively grateful. So, questions. I've had a lot. Going through the hundreds of emails that we've been receiving back off of the back of the announcement and of the request for existing customers, here is just a select few, and feel free to contribute some more in the comments, and as I say, Cameron will pass them on to me. The first one I've answered is, when did we know? So some people were under the impression that we were holding on to this information and we were deceiving customers who had been placing orders just recently. We did not know. We did not know. And the thing is that even in the context of understanding the market that had just passed, I assumed maybe that we would need to do a price increase in terms of new sales at some point this year. In no way did I anticipate that we were going to have to ask existing customers to contribute also. So the first that I knew of it was Friday, and I stopped immediate sales on the 7th of May, and I worked my ass off that weekend, Monday, Tuesday. By Wednesday I'd had solid figures to go on, and then by Thursday we released. So that's how we knew, and when we knew, and how fast it went. Why 5%? Well, it's a contribution. So it's not covering the entire cost. The entire raw cost of material per building is around about 42% on what it was. So we've contributed to that percentage, and we're asking you to do a bit as well. What I'm relying on is at least 75% of customers being able to contribute, and we'll come to what able means in a minute. But with that, then we're okay. We're going to be all right. Then there isn't going to be a big disaster in 12, 18 months' time. And we are going to be able to stave off this increase in the volatile market that we're facing at the moment. It won't last forever. What if I can't contribute? Now, this comes at two angles. One is the customer who cannot contribute, and one is the customer who is contributing. So out of the 100 or so emails I've had, only 2 customers haven't been able to contribute with good reason. And what I would hope is everyone that is in a position to be able to contribute understands that those who cannot don't choose that place. They don't want to be in that position. They don't want to have had the adverse of COVID affecting their jobs, security, affecting their actual lives. You know, they don't want to be there. So if you are in a position to contribute, then just appreciate how lucky you actually are, because unfortunately there are many of us that have had far, far more detrimental effects from COVID and all the other things that are going on in the world. So it's just an appreciation really, and the majority of customers overwhelmingly are in a position where they want to help without condition. So we really, really appreciate that. Will there be more increases? When I worked out the price increase scenario, I took into consideration a number of factors. And the reason I did this was to create some clarity and certainty over the next 12 to 18 months. Now, I know roughly what's going to happen in terms of the price of timber. And working closely with the suppliers, I've worked out what that percentage increase is. And I've split that across the board in terms of orders that are going out between now and April next year. Now, that price increase takes into consideration from the end of June this year to June next year. And at that point, that's when I would want to review again. So I'm making a promise in terms of increases on timber that from now until June next year, this is all I'm asking of you for existing customers for sure. Should things like steel and ironmongery start to become an issue for us in terms of supply and price, then it's possible that the prices on the price list for new customers may need to rise again. But in terms of existing customers, we've done our bit. And anything else, if it gets worse, then I would seriously want to ask the questions of our local governments and the external support that we should be getting from the Scottish Government as a whole. So that's where I would take my next ask. It wouldn't be from the customer again. And I'm working with our local councillor, Alistair Bailey, who's coming down to see me tomorrow. So hopefully there'll be some good news there. I don't think this is fair. Yeah, it's not. It's anything but fair. These are external factors. There's been many things that Gillis Mackay have had to overcome in the 30 years of business that have been internal factors, internal impacts. But as far as external goes, we have absolutely no control. So we don't control COVID, we don't control Brexit, we don't control the US and China markets, but we are massively directly affected by them. So no, it's not fair. And again, in terms of existing customers, this is a discretionary contribution. And if you cannot contribute, then you don't have to, and we understand that. However, if you are in a position to do so, we very much ask you and thank you for doing so. Why can't you buy Scottish? Why can't you buy Scottish wood? What's wrong with Scottish wood? I get it all the time. It's mad. It is mad. But yeah, no, Scottish wood isn't any good. Just simple, straight up, whitewood spruce from Scotland. Nah, not cool. We won't use it. And that's because it grows too fast, the density isn't there, the nature of the timber is unpredictable, it cups, it has a tendency to shrink and contract in massive amounts. Yeah, it's not for us, it's not Gillis Mackay quality, and we just won't use it, so it's not an option. Will the specification change? Now this is an important one, because this is why we're paying this increase, because we won't change the spec. We need our Scandinavian redwood, and we'll fight tooth and nail to make sure that we get it, and thankfully we have got the best kind of suppliers who have looked after us for many years and have a fantastic relationship with one of the founding directors, John Mackay, my dad. And he's passed that relationship on to Gordon and myself, and they look after us, and we've got our faith in them. They've always done. We've seen off 3 recessions. You know, we can cope with this. It's going to be all right. Can I get my building early? No. No, you can't. Sorry. It's funny because when you ask for something, there's just like a small percentage of people who expect that to be like a bargaining ploy for them to start putting in other conditions. No, there's no chance of getting the building early. We're completely fully booked until April. So the only eventuality of that is if somebody cancels or postpones, or there's a diary change, and in which case, which is very rare, then I will hand select who is capable of filling the space, and it's dependent on style of building, size of building, location of where the building's being assembled, what bench joiner I have available to make it, a number of factors. So the likelihood of you actually being able to be brought forward is pretty slim. So don't count on that. Nobody's cancelling their orders because of this. And people are still buying in their droves. I've got up to here with diary planning this week. So please don't think that there's a chance of an earlier date. Can I pay it later? Is another one, another condition of whether or not you're going to contribute 5%. And I think we're very clear on our terms of sale. There's a deposit that's paid on order, and then you pay for the building 7 days prior to delivery. Now, the reason for this is the way that our supply runs in terms of materials. The stock for your building is already bought several weeks in advance of your building being made. And then your building itself is often built up to 2 to 3 weeks before it's going out on assembly. So this building exists. The product is already there. We've paid for it. So that's why we then ask you to contribute. You're paying 7 days before delivery, yes, but that is just such a small element of the job that's left to be done. So no, in terms of being able to accept later payment, that's not something that we're willing to do. And it's something that I made a decision about on, I think it must have been about 2013, in terms of making sure that the buildings that we built were actually paid for, because of, well, good money sense and cash management. So that's how we operate. So we've been operating like that for a long time. Yes, so that's a rule of thumb on pay later. Can I get something for free? No, it's not something that we can do in terms of being able to justify all the costs that are involved. Now, not only with the profit margin that we're contributing to this price increase, we're also contributing in terms of waste management and making sure that every single item of material that we have is accounted for. We had Aaron out there last week count every single stick of timber to ensure that we knew exactly what was going on. And then it's just good common sense, you know. You have to pay for the stuff that you get, and because we're a product-based business, you're actually getting a tangible thing. It's not like there's an additional service that we can give you. I mean, we're pretty good at life advice here, so you can have some of that if you want, but other than that, then there's not much else that we can do in terms of what your order is for. So that's the questions that I've got so far through the through the emails, and yeah, it's just been it's been a learning experience for sure. So I just again thank you to everybody who has made a contribution and made the effort. Let's have a look at some questions that have come through. Okay, so we've got one here from Debbie Atkins. Debbie is a good friend, so I'm sure she should know this answer. Can you not just grow your own wood in a giant Swedish greenhouse with a fully climate controlled environment? That's one that I will definitely put forward to Councillor Alistair Bailey tomorrow when he comes down, and see if that's something that, you know, Perth and Ross Council will be willing to invest in. It sounds like a proper plan there, Debbie. You should be building sheds, sweetheart. Have we got anything else just now? Any actual questions? No, that's grand. Well, I mean, hopefully I've covered everything that you were looking for in terms of answers. And it's just been, you know, as I say, a strange, weird time to be alive in terms of running this small business. Can we pay the 5% after? Can we pay the 5% after completion? I'd be willing to definitely accept that. The increased levy that would be added to your final invoice for the existing customers that I've communicated with so far. I understand that just goes on the bottom end of the invoice. If you just want to pay your remaining balance and then pay the 5% at a later date, then that's absolutely fine if that suits you better in terms of cash flow. But yeah, so anything else? I mean, it's hard, you know, like we don't have all the answers, and we are just trying our best, and I hope that everybody just can understand that to some extent. You know, we're doing our best, and we're working with honest intentions, and we always are. You know, first and foremost, every decision that Gillis Mackay makes is about the customer and about the staff. And if we get that right, we know that the longevity of G&M is here for generations, and that's what we want. You know, we're not a finite company racing to the end game trying to sell a company here. You know, this is infinite. We are here for life. And in order to be like that, we think differently, and I can understand some skepticism about, you know, profits and things like that. We're not big business. We pay our taxes, and you know, we deserve to be here supporting all the families that work for us. So hope you understand that this hasn't been easy for us either, and we just thank you so much for all the help, everything that you've been saying, contributing, even the advice that I've been getting as well. You know, thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day. Enjoy the shed that you have, the shed that you're about to get, and the shed in the future. Thanks very much. Cheers. Bye.